All right. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to use some pivot tables and we're going to make some graphs. Now, pivot tables are a great way to represent data in a different format. So in this case, if I wanted to know how many students are 15, 16, and 17, I could make a pivot table with that. You see, if I just go to make a graph by highlighting and selecting the chart tool, what it's going to do, it's going to take each of these entries as a separate entry, and that's not what I'm looking for. So what I have to do is I have to turn this data first. So I'm going to highlight column E, and I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to insert a pivot table. And you see it's going to create a new sheet, and it's going to take the data from E to E. So let me go ahead and create it. And what I have to do is I have to tell it what I want now. So if I come down here and I say I want to add, oops, I don't want the rules. Let me turn off conditional formatting. And I come down here to rows. Now it gives me some suggestions here, but I'm going to go ahead and just do this. So what I want for the row is I want to know how old you are. And you'll see I've got 3 different values. I have 15, 16, and 17. And in the values portion of this, I'm going to go to add how old you are. And you'll see it gives me the sum of how old everybody is. But that's not what I'm looking for, actually. I'm looking for the number of people, right? I don't need to know that the 17-year-old, the sum of his age is 17. So I'm going to change it from sum to count A. That means it's going to count all the values uniquely. And so here I have, there's 14 15-year-olds, 6 16-year-olds, and 1 17-year-old. Now it's showing the grand total. That's helpful for me to know. There's 21 entries, and I can look at my sheet. And remember, row 1 is the header. So then I have 22 rows, so minus 1, that makes 21. So it all matches up great. But if I want to graph this now, I'm going to take off the totals because it's going to mess up my graph a little bit. But now I've just got the data represented just like I needed. I have the age and I have the number. So if I select that awesome box to select all the data, and I come over and I use the chart tool, look, it automatically makes a pie chart for me, and it's got the number, the age, and the percent of our students. Now I can customize this chart and make it different colors and use these kind of different things, change the title. You can copy the chart and you can paste it into a Google spreadsheet or into a slide presentation, and you can even link it, so if the data changes, the chart will update in real time. But there are also other types of charts that we can make. So I'm going to go back to our form responses, and everybody picked a country that they liked. So let's take a look at this country chart. And if I go ahead, first I have to make that pivot table again. So we're going to go to Insert, and we'll go to Pivot Table. I've selected the data already. The row is going to be the country, and the value is going to be also the country. And you'll see, so I've got a whole bunch of things. But now as I look at it, there's a couple glaring mistakes before I make this graph. Notice that Italy shows up twice, and I'm not really sure why there's different Italys. Sometimes the spelling, also the UK, there's a UK with an exclamation point and a regular UK. So I'm going to go through and manually clean up that data to make this pivot table look a little bit better. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to erase the exclamation point on this UK. And for whatever reason, Italy is not coming in right. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to type in Italy. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste them so they're all exactly the same. Sometimes there's an invisible space afterwards. Sometimes, all sorts of weird things. But just by doing that, now when I go back to that pivot table, you'll see there's 2 for UK and there's 5 for Italy. There's no other repeats. I guess the Poland or Portugal, that could throw it off. So I'm just going to take Portugal on there, and you'll see that's updated on our pivot table. So like I said, there's a lot of different types of charts within Google Sheets. And so if I use that awesome box, let me turn off the totals also. But if I use that awesome box and I go to the chart tool again, take a look. I actually have an option to make a geochart. And you'll see this geochart is now color-coded based off of the number of responses. So it's kind of neat, and I can customize this chart as well. So if I want the minimum, I don't need it to be red. I'm going to have it like a really light green. And then let's do, if they're in the middle, we'll kind of turn it like a blue. And then all the way to like a dark green. And so if you select any of these, you'll see there's 5 people who selected Italy. There's 2 people who had selected Mexico, 2 people for Japan, 1 person for Canada, Spain, Portugal, France, the UK. You get the idea. So there's a lot of different types of charts that are available in here. I know that wasn't a short overview of what you can do with these spreadsheets, but it's just an introduction. So take some time, play around with this data, and see what you can do and how you can represent this data in a way to make it more meaningful. Good luck.